Today, this is what we are going to be building. We are going to be building some sort of social media post generation worker. So ultimately, if you're a company or you're a firm or you're an individual, you have social media accounts, and you have to always go and search for posts to engage your audience with. Now you no longer have to do that because you can create an AI employee or an AI worker that will just get the latest, and it's always very current. Get the latest news on whatever niche you're interested in. Let's say you're in AI automation or something. It will get the latest news per day, and it's going to send the news. It's going to get all the news per day and send those news to you on Telegram. So at the end of today's video, you should be able to create an AI worker that every day all it does is go online, search for the latest news, right? And it's going to send those latest news to you on Telegram in form of a Twitter post, a LinkedIn post, or a Facebook post, right? Now, you're going to be blown away by what we are going to build from all of this if you're new to AI automation. So let's get to it, everybody. Now, the first thing we're going to do here is click on start from scratch. We're starting from scratch. And once you click on start from scratch, it opens up the N10 environment. This is where all of the magic happens. But before we get into this, the first thing you have to do is to go to Telegram. Now you have to open up your Telegram, and there we have to create a bot, right? I know this will sound a little bit scary to some of you, but it's just an easy thing. Just follow me step by step. Even if you're a beginner, you're going to be able to do all of this if you just follow me. All right. So this is Telegram. I have Telegram installed. In case you've not installed Telegram, you should install it. Now, what you need to search for is bot father, right? I'll search for bot father, and then you click on it. Now this is bot father, right? Bot father is more like a bot that handles creation of bots, creation of web apps, games, and all of those things as it has to do with Telegram, all right? So we're going to come here and say, and now see, if you come here and click on, let's say stats, it's going to give you, if you come here and type stats slash stats, right, it's going to give you all of these things. These are all of the commands that the bot father can process for you. All right, but the one we're interested in right now is we want to create a new bot. So we'll type slash new bots. All right, so come here and type slash new bots. Now it's asking us to choose a name. We have to choose a name for your bots. Now let's say we call this social media agents. No, let me use all small caps. Social media agents um, for YouTube. Um, okay, social media agents YouTube. Let me just use that. All right. Now, then we'll press enter. Now, once you do that, it's going to create it and say, good. Now, let's choose a username for your bot. It must end in bots. Now, these are the examples. Your username must end in bots. So let's say social media agents YouTube underscore bots, right? Now, we've created a username for our bot. Now, you can see that this bot right now has a token, right? Now, what you have to do is copy this token and save it somewhere. It's very, very important. That's the first thing you have to do. Copy this token and save it somewhere. Another thing you would need to do is you need to get your chat ID. Now, there are two ways of using a bot to send messages to you. You can create a group or a channel where the bot sends the message to. That's one. You can also make the bot to send a message to you. Now, you can use any of these two ways, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to be using having the bot send the message to you personally. So we're just going to come here and type the name of our bot, SMA Gents YouTube. I missed something. YouTube underscore bots. Let's see. Yeah. All right. We click on it, and then you click on start, right? Now, once you've done this, you've interacted. The idea of all of this is to interact with the bots. Okay, so once you've interacted with the bots that you created, you're going to come here and go to api.telegram.org/bots, right? And then put your token here, right? Bot and your token, then slash get update. So I'm just going to go and copy here bots further. I'm going to copy the token and then come back here. Now let's see what I selected. I selected everything apart from the bots, right? In between this first slash and this last slash, everything apart from the bots. Selected it and then I pasted it and then I'll press enter. Let's see how it goes. Okay, now let's go back to Telegram. Let's go back to our bots and then just type any message, or right. I think that should do it. I'll come back here to refresh all of this. Okay, yeah, we have something right now. This here is your chat ID. All right, so it tells you message from this. This is your chat ID. All right, and you're going to have to copy this. Now, if you're not sure of all of this, you can just copy all of this. Now, I really want to expose you guys to how I come about this information. Also, apart from just teaching you that you have to do this and you have to do that, you have to really be able to understand where all of this is coming from. I don't keep these things on my head. I use Copilot or ChatGPT. Okay, so we just go ahead and paste it here and say what is my chat ID, all right? So I think we're correct. So you just go ahead and copy this, which is your chat ID, and keep it somewhere, right? Now I want to keep that here with my bots. We're going to go on with the entire process. We'll come back to all of that, but we already have the chat ID and we have the token, right? Those are the two things that we need to start up with this. All right. Now, the first thing we should do from here is to click on this plus. Now, you see this plus and this plus, they are the same thing ultimately. When you click on them, it means you're trying to add a node. Just just don't try to overthink it. Just know that once you click on this plus, you're trying to add a node to your anything workflow, right? So click on it. Now look for trigger manually. Normally it should be the number one thing you see there, but if you don't see, just type trigger manually. All right. Now, what this means is that this workflow we are creating, this AI agents, this AI employee we are creating, is not going to start until we click on execute workflow. That's when it's going to start. Now, we might end up changing, in fact, essentially, we're going to end up changing this, but for now, we just want to use this for the sake of everything we need to do right now. Now, so another thing you should know is while you are here in the anything environment, you can hold control or command on your system and scroll. It zooms in and zoom out. So if you have sometimes you can have a lot of nodes and then you want to zoom in to see everything. There's also another button that should be of interest, the shift button. If you hold it and you scroll on your mouse, right, it moves your workflow left and right, like you can see right now, right? There's also the alt. It moves your nodes up and down, right? Now, the reason I'm teaching you this is at the end of the day, these things might have to do with how fast you are. You get so you need to just master them. Okay, so now we've created this click when execute by clicking, right? The next thing we should do is to rename this to Telegram or what do we call this now? Let's call it social media agent. Let's call it social media agent. Then we'll press enter, and that's it. All right. Now we've renamed our workflow to social media agents. Okay. Now, if you come back to personal, or if you log into your Anyten account, you're going to see that as one of the. So when you build several ones, you will see all of them here. To get into the particular workflow or the particular agent, you click on this. Now, at some point, we'll be talking about how several agents can communicate with each other and all of that. Don't worry, we'll just take it step by step. But for now, this is what we are doing. We're just setting up this right now. Now we've created this trigger. This is called a trigger, right? Manual trigger. Now, the next thing we want to do is to add a Google RSS feed. Now, let me explain what that is. Now, the news we want to be getting, there's somewhere we should be getting it from. We should be getting it from a reliable place. Now, the most reliable is Google, right? And Google, gives this RSS feed where you can get list of news for any niche that you are interested in. So we'll just come here and say RSS, all right, RSS read, then we'll click on it. Now the URL here, I'm going to leave this URL on the description for you guys. Okay, but here's something you should change. You see this AI plus Africa, this is the niche that I want to use. If you're looking for recent news in Nigeria, you should type Nigeria there. Do you understand? If you're looking for, let's say, things about web development, let's say things about whatever niche you are interested in serving your audience, you come here and type it here. All right. So you need to really understand that. So we'll just go ahead and I want to remove the Africa from this because some of my audience are not in Africa. So I'm just going to click on execute, and then let's see how it goes. You see it's running. If you are doing it right now, if you are doing this right now, you are seeing this. Congratulations to you because you started running um N10 and you have been inaugurated into our club. All right, so you see it has given me like 100 news now right now, 100 most current news. So we're already in business, and these are very very recent. These are very very recent. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and you see, so when you see this good mark, it means this one ran and this one ran. That's what it means here. All right. Now this is called a node. Now this one is called a node. This node is the manual trigger that triggers this one. All right. Now I can decide to delete a node by pointing to it and coming here to delete. I can decide to run just this node by coming here to click on it. I can even turn it off if I want. All right. So anyway, we don't want to do any of those things now. We've already made success with our RSS. So open this, what I just opened, just double click on this and it should open. If you also notice, we also added when one day, right? Because we want to get today's news. Today's news. That's that's what we want to get. Today's happening. That's what we want to get. All right. So you can tweak this as you desire. Now the next thing is to now if you notice this one gave us 100 items. We need to now split these 100 items into individuals, right? And process individuals independently. So we'll just come here and add another node, split. Okay, so we're interested in split in batches, all right? That's what we're interested in now. Okay. So how many these batch sizes? How many do we want to process per time? It's one we want to process. So just leave it as it is, and then we close. All right. So we have this. Now let me also explain something. Every node is going to have an input and output. All right. Now we've not executed these steps. After you execute it, that's when you get the output. But the input is what came from the last node. Now in the last node, we saw that we had 100 news, right? Let me put it like that. 100 items, essentially, right? We had 100 items. This one now is to process each of those items. This is how you if you are used to programming, this is more like looking through a list of 100 items. All right, so we don't want our agents to process news that have already been processed, right? So I'm going to show you a more like a temporary way, but just it will do for now, right? A way of saving every news that you have processed before. We're going to have a way of saving it so that we do not reprocess that news again. Do you understand? All right. So what we need to do first of all is uh, set. Okay. The reason why we're adding this set node is we we want to store our news in a way that we can recognize, right? We want to use names that we can recognize to store our news, right? Because we just got the news. We need to store them in a way that we can recognize so that we can reference it. So if we are talking about the title, we need to be able to talk about title. Right now, we might not be able to do that. Okay, so we need to use variables and names that we can recognize that we set by ourselves. Okay, so set the news ID. Now we'll be using the link as the news ID. All we have to do is come here to um, execute previous. Okay, execute previous node, and then it brings all of this, right? Now you don't have to do so much. Just take the link, add it as field. Now we will not call this link. We'll call it new. We'll call it news underscore ID, right? We've done that one. We add another field again. We call this one title. Okay, but so leave this one as string. Leave this one as string. Okay, so we'll just take this title from here and put it here. So we have this. Then we'll come again and summary. Okay, now we have summary and we need to take content from here and put it here. Okay, so that's a summary, and then we also have link. So I'm just going to come here and take link, put it here. Yes, we don't need to change the name for that one. I hope I'm not being fast with all of this. It's just there's nothing complex about this. It's just to drag the name of the field and drag it here, and then call it what you want to call it. Okay. Now let's execute this step here, and then see what happens. Yeah. So I think the node was executed successfully, so we are good. Now, next thing we'll be doing is to add a data store, more like a temporary database or something. You know, now there are some more robust solutions we'll be building where we have to really use some uh, really robust data storage. But for now, this will do. So we'll just come here and take data table and say insert row. Okay. Yeah. So we leave this as row. Operation as insert, leave that. From list, yeah, so we'll come here because we don't have any data table yet. We are going to add a data table. Now it will open a new tab. Now you will now need to create all of those fields that we just created in the set node. We have to recreate them here in this data table so that they will match. They have to match because all of those fields will now be written to the data table. All right. So we have to give this some time. All right. So from this point, we can go ahead and just type the name of the table, which will be N8 and let's say SM agents, social media agents. All right. So go ahead and click on create, and yeah, that's all we have. All right. So you have to click create all of those fields that we had created before. For instance, new. Now we have to recreate all of the fields that all of the variables that we had created before. For instance, new ID, add column, come here again, link, add column, uh, summary, add column. I don't think is there any other one that we might be leaving out? News ID, title, yeah, we're leaving out title. So come here and click on the plus, then title, add column. All right, so we have everything here. Now we can close this and come back to our workflow. Now, if you close this and come back, uh, yeah, so you can see the one we created, N10 SM agents. So you just go ahead and choose it so that now you can see all of what we created. You just have to now move these into their respective, no, not link. Let's do it over. Link. And then here we have summary. And then here we have title. You can click this to execute. That should do it for this. All right, so we are good. Uh, oh yeah. Okay. Now we have to do something else. Yeah, we have to check whether the data exists. You understand? So for every news that we get, we have to check if it already exists. If it already exists, then we don't need to. All right, so we don't need to re-add it. So we just go ahead and data if row does not exist. That's what we are choosing this time. So if row does not exist, choose the right table. That's just it. We don't need to do anything else. All right. Um, okay, yeah, we need to add a condition. Now we are not using ID. Remember that we are using the link as the unique factor. So we come here and choose new ID here. All right. And then that's it. All right. So the next thing for us to do now is to add the AI node. Right. So you can notice how I'm using the plus here instead of this one here. It's because I want to add a node in between these two nodes. Okay. So I'll just click on this and then come to HTTP. So this is the node of um, interest. You click on it, HTTP request. All right. I'll just leave it the way it is, and then let's go to open router. Okay, we'll be using open router because we want to take advantage of free ones. We want to use free AI models. All right. Uh, Most of the things that I share here are free things, so there's no excuse for anybody. And you don't need to go and pay some $50, $120, $20, or any of those things. You can use the free ones that I share here. So I take time to really do some research to get the free ones that can work, at the same time. So Here we're in openrouter.ai. So you just come here to sign up. Okay. I'm not going to be signing up. I'll just sign in because I've already signed up. All right. Okay. I've signed in here now. What you have to do is you come here to explore models. Okay. Yeah, like I told you, there are many models here, but we're actually interested in the free one. So come here and type free. As you can see, there are some models that will be expiring, like they're already deprecating on July 26th, which is right now, like today. There's this one for 27. Anyway, you can go through all of the models that we have, but there's a specific one that I think that it would be better for us to use because I tried several other ones. I was having complications here and there, but this one ended up being very good. Let's just type Google/gamma. Wait, let's see if there's anyone. Yeah, so Google/gamma. Okay, so let's say this one for instance says Gamma 3 introduces multi-modality supporting visual language input and text outputs, yada. All right. Um, so we'll be using this one 27B free. Let's see how that goes. Okay. All right. Now you scroll down to where you have CURL. Okay, so under the CURL here is where you have all the codes that you need to run this normally, but I've made some modifications here and there, and I'll give you a code that is based on this one. I built it out of this one, but make sure you come here to create API key, all right, and click on create API key. Now give it a name, all right, leave this one blank. Leave this one blank to leave this one, then just click on create. That's it. Now, once it creates it, you need to know that it's not going to give you that same code again. So you have to copy it and save it somewhere, or just keep it somewhere until we need it. Well, something very important that you also have to do is come to set privacy. Now, some of this, I need to say this so that depending on the particular purpose for which you're using this tutorial, you can know what you're doing, okay? Now, some of these free models, they offer, these services for free, but they will use your data to train the model. You know, they will take your data, they will use your data. So if you're doing something that is very, very confidential, you don't want to use this, but you should be aware about this. Now, this particular model that we're using is not going to work if you do not come over to settings. So, see on the address bar here, I raised everything as from AI slash, all right, and then add settings to it slash privacy, all right, and then press enter. So you have something like this. Now you have to allow, what we are doing here is allowing the model to read our data, all right? So enable free endpoints, turn it on. Enable free, for most of you, it will be off. So you have to turn this on, all right? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our N10 environment where, um, like I told you, the CURL, quick, I can show you guys how to generate this for yourself. Okay. Uh, okay, what you do is you come here. Let's search for Google Gamer Free, right? 27B. Okay, I'm using 27B here, Gamer Google, you know. Now you can read up about it here. Gamer 3 introduces multi yada yada yada. Read up about it if it's important to you, okay? But must come here where you have create API key, come here to CURL. Now you see this code here. take this code, I will take it to Copilot and tell Copilot to modify this based on my data. All right. So I'm telling Copilot to modify this based on my data. Now, my data is this, right? I've written some sort of prompt here. I've written some sort of prompt here, right? And I'm just going to tell Copilot to modify it accordingly. Okay, so we have this now, and I can copy it. So instead of entering all of these things individually, that's why we did all of that, right? What we now have to do is click on import CURL. Let me do this again. Import CURL and click on paste the content that Copilot gives to us. Then import. Sometimes you have to give it some time to import all of the data. Yeah. Okay, so one other thing we will need to do, finish up with um, authentication, right? So come here and click on generic credential type. Now we'll come here to header. Let me do this again. Under generic authentication type, you come here and click header or select credential and create a new credential. So a credential is something like um, what you use. So the username and the password. Let me not say username and password. The credential. I'm trying not to use the same word, but it's more like the parameters with which you connect to a service like this. First of all, I'm going to change this to open router. Say here, top left, open, just click on it and rename it to open router. Then name is authorization. Then here we type bearer and paste what you got from the API here. All right. Paste what you got from this API when you created this API. Let's call this N8N open router. All right. And click on create. Okay. I've pasted it here. Make sure that the bearer is still here. Small letters, no change of case. Let's do it again. Bearer space, then paste, then save. So it's saved, and then we'll close this. All right. Now, so it's already chosen here. Now come here to change this to expression. All right. We need to change this to expression. Why? Because see this title here and this summary, they are not correct. Now, what we need to do is to come here and take the title. We don't actually need both the title and the summary. We only need the title. Uh, Now we select everything here, cut it, and then come and remove everything from here to here. I hope you can see it. Remove everything from there and then click on and then just paste it there. Okay. If you are doing well, if it's working correctly, you'll see something like this. All right. You see your title is being translated into what will to or whatever else it is. Okay. What will it take for Africa to for AI to work for women's health in Africa? All right. So it's the same thing here, the title here. All right. So if you did it correctly, it should be like this. Now we don't need to bother to put the summary. In fact, I noticed I was having some errors using the summary. Maybe it's because it has some links and all of that. We don't really need that. But to know if it really works, you have to execute this step. All right. And when you click on execute this step, you need to wait for a while and look out for contents. All right. We have some success here. So you see, we already have content here, and that's what we wanted. So cool, cool, cool. That's success. Now you have to come here to save. Make sure you always save your work because you could lose your work. like really. Now, so you see this last node that says um, replace me, we're going to delete that. Okay, so we now have something like this. Now we need to place another node here that writes to Telegram. Now, if you notice at the beginning of this video, I told you guys to create some a bot with bot further, and you already did that. Now, this is where we're going to use that. So just click on plus and then come here to Telegram. All right, and scroll down to look for send a text message. That's what we are sending. Okay. All right. Now we have to create a new credential. Okay. Now go and copy that code, that your bot code. You have to go and copy it and come and paste here. All right. Okay. Now when you click on save, you need to wait for it to be tested, and you see the testing was successful. That's good. All right. So close this. I don't need this guy saving my shit. All right, so Telegram account, resources message, operation is send message. Now chat ID, copy it from there and paste it here as chat ID. Then the text. This time here, I've removed every other parameter here. What we just have here is the JSON choices, messages, content. Let me explain what that means. So there's the output that comes from the AI node, the HTTP request node. Now in that output, this is the HTTP request node, right? Now when you open this, you're going to see a couple of things. Let me close everything, right? Now what we need, the response from that AI, what we need is in this particular point choices, right? And then inside there we need these choices 0. Now, inside there, we have messages. Inside there, we have content. Now, if you're able to locate your content like this, you can just drag it here to have this, right? Now, the reason I'm explaining all of this is because you can even still bring in things from other nodes. Do you understand? Just so you have a full understanding of this whole thing. Yeah, so essentially we have that. I've told you how you can create the Telegram account and how you can authenticate it, and you know the resource we are interested in is message, and we are sending messages. The chat ID, you know how to get that. Now once you've done all of that, the next thing is rate limiting. Now let me explain that a little bit. Now if you allow your bots, if you allow your AI agents, if you allow your AI agents to just run, you're going to keep having you're going to be bombarding the AI. Do you understand? Like you'll be sending a lot of requests, and if you send a lot of requests, you can run out of tokens. In fact, anytime you are running your AI and your AI has to send back a more like a reply, you must make sure that you put some time delay in between so it doesn't do so much in 1 second or in 1 minute or thereabout. So what we do is we come here to add weights. All right. When you click on weights, I want to delete this one I just created. I want to delete it because I don't need it. I already created weights here. All right. Now this weight means just pause everything for whatever time you put here. So I'm putting 2 here, and then I'm changing this to minutes. So it waits for 2 minutes before it runs it. So remember that we got 100 from here, 100 items, as you can see here, 100 items, right? Now for each of these 100 items, it's going to do all of this, but it has to wait for 2 minutes before it does the next one. Has to wait for 2 minutes before it does the next one. Now you can change that timing depending on what you want, right? And then when you click on execute workflow, this is what you have. All right. Now notice how the workflow is moving from node to node, right? Right. So you can see this now. I just got a Telegram message. Now let me click on it. Now my Telegram message says here are social media posts about AI and yada yada yada. All right. So it gives me the LinkedIn posts, gives me the Twitter posts, gives me the Facebook posts, as you can see here, and then adds some valid tags also, right? So we have that here. This is already working, as you can see. If you're able to achieve this, then you've been able to create your first AI worker. You've been able to create your first AI worker that creates posts for you. All right. Now, one thing we will do in the next class is to make this run by itself. Now, for instance, this is going to keep running. As you can see now, um, it's waiting here for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, it's going to run again. After 2 minutes, it's going to run again. So that happens, okay? But what we want to do is there are cases where we want this to run every 5 hours. There are cases where we want this to run every, you understand? So we'll treat all of that in the next class. But if you are able to implement all of this, you would have implemented all of the basics, right? As it has to do with workflow and AI employee creation. Um, Now, I know that this might be a little bit complex for some people. Now, if you're in that category, I've also left a link to my personal WhatsApp group where you can meet me personally and several other expert guys that will be able to guide you. And all of this is for free. You understand? So make sure you do this. Now, the assignment for today is this. Now, here's the assignment for today. Do this to the end and then tell me which of the nodes handles the AI? Which of the nodes in all of this handles the AI? As you can see, tell me which of the nodes handle this. So you can see the second message just came now. If you come here, you see this is a different message. It says here social media post based on the news article tailored for LinkedIn, yada yada yada. All right. Now, if you look at this now, you can see that we don't have the title and we might want the title. That's the second that's the second assignment I have for you guys. Come to the Telegram node and add the title of the post to this. Add the title of the post to this, right? And that's the second assignment. Now, if you're able to do it, if you're able to do it, write out your process, write it on the comment section. I want to see it on the comment section how you did it. You understand? So, two assignments. Number one is tell me the node that has the AI implementation in all of this. Not all of them has AI. There's one particular node that has AI. That's number one. Number two, tell me tell me how you went about to add title to this. All right. That's the number two assignment. And of course, you know that it's only those that participate in the assignments that are going to get our certificates. I'll see you guys in the next class. All right.